What is going on, guys? It's your boys Clayton. In today's video, we are going to be ranking all of the Black Ops 7 launch maps. Now, I honestly think most of these maps are pretty good. I haven't had any super major concerns about it. But without any further ado, we are going to be ranking Flagship first. Now, this map I like with it being pretty small. You get a lot of interactions. The hard points I wish were in a little better locations, but overall I kind of enjoy like the gunfights you have with them. Very good for long shot challenges I found out with the snipers. I feel like you kind of get a 50-50 game with this. I feel like most of the time it's usually pretty even. It isn't one team dominating the other. So yeah, with that, I would rank this a solid B plus. Now we have good old Hijack. Now I know we all have famous memories of playing this game on Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3. And honestly, I think it plays fairly well on BO7. I do think it's kind of the worst version, but that doesn't mean it's a bad version. This game mode for Hardpoint, I feel like plays fairly smoothly. I just feel like the bottom of the boat is kind of where the hardest hardpoint to kind of take over is. But I feel like it's the classic hijack. Don't really have any issues with it. I do feel like the head glitches on this map are a little bit more annoying than they were in the past. But overall, I would rank this as a solid map. I would say a solid B. All right, and now for Scar. I feel like this map has kind of turned into a fan favorite for Black Ops 7, and honestly, I can't say I disagree with them. I feel like it plays super well, especially on Hardpoint. I like how they utilize the house kind of, because I think it was kind of the same as like Black Ops 7 Fringe. Um, Kind of the layout overall is pretty similar too, and everyone loved that. I might not be thinking of the right map, but I feel like this map plays that super smooth. There are a lot of different kind of flanking angles, attacking angles. You have some short range, some long range, mid range. Kind of suits all play styles. And I just feel like the overall scenery of this map is really good. Like even though it is kind of like a war zone-ish area, it's still kind of bright and vibrant. It isn't dull gray and white everywhere. Um, but I really do like this map. I feel like this one um kind of plays fairly well too, like in the sense that no one is just dominating the whole game or anything like that. But I've had really great times on Scar, and I kind of feel like this is going to be a lot of people's top of the list, I guess you could say. But I unfortunately can't disagree with them. Scar, I would rate as a solid A. And now Colossus. Boy, oh boy, is this a map. I feel like this is the absolute crackhead's favorite map, especially on this first hardpoint or in the middle of the map where everyone goes right off the start, other than me here's trying to snipe and get my sniper's golden. But this first hardpoint is impossible to hold. You are not holding it this for like any more than 30 seconds because everyone's just throwing grenades, throwing stuns, me included. And I feel like it is just pure chaos. If they were able to make this top part bigger or kind of expand on it in some way, shape, or form, I feel like this map would play pretty well. Because overall, the three lanes, I do like the left and right side, and I do like kind of the underneath how it connects it all. But I feel like it's just that top part that kind of brings this down for me, honestly. It plays fairly well on hardpoint. I do feel like this is one of those that you can absolutely get dominated on, though, other than like the mid hard point. But this map is kind of okay for me. I haven't had any tremendous experiences or any horrendous ones, I guess, either. Um, that's just kind of right in the middle of the pack for me. With a few modifications, I feel like it really could be up there. But for me, that's just going to be a C. And now we're going to be moving swiftly on to exposure. Now, I feel like this is going to be a great competitive map. but that's about as far as it goes. Um, I do feel like the layout of it is a little interesting. You're kind of in like this weird desert facility. Um, it doesn't look like a bad map, like it visually looks pretty appealing, and there are a lot of different ways you can play around it, angles, things like that. Um, I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if I've been mostly sniping on this map or what the case is, but it just doesn't really gel with me. I know a lot of people like this map. I don't feel like there's a lot of ways to use the creative wall jumping mechanics on this map either. Like there's the obvious one to the right of kind of where I'm looking now, where you can go from the edge of the map to the middle, but I feel like that's just like a death trap trying to use that. If anyone's kind of in that vicinity, if they see you jumping, you're dead immediately. I feel like it's relatively hard to break some of the hard points on this map, but overall, I think it does play fairly well. It's definitely not the worst on my list, but it definitely isn't the best. I feel like in competitive, this is going to be a great game mode, or a great map. And I should specify, I haven't played much of any game mode other than Hardpoint. So I don't know how it's going to be on Domination, or I think Overload is the new map, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how it plays on that or anything like that, but as far as Hardpoint goes, it's pretty mid. I don't really enjoy this map that so much, so I am going to have to give this a regular B. Now we are moving on to Toshin, or Tushin, I don't know. But even though PO7 has some pretty good maps, I would say most are pretty decent to really good. This is not one of them. I feel like the middle area is like pretty much where you're forced to go, I feel like half the time. And it's super easy to hold down. There's two head glitches, one up top, one on bottom, and then the train. There's not really any modifications to it. I feel like it plays very one-dimensional. The hard point on this makes it a little better because it flips up spawns, so you're not just going straight through the middle every time. But still, overall, the gunfights in this are super weird, I feel like. I don't really enjoy playing this map. Um, Let me know if you guys disagree, but this is probably going to be one of my least favorite maps on this game. And with that being said, this has to go into D for me. It's just not playable by any means. Now we go into the Forge, which is kind of the complete opposite. I feel like this map has so many different routes, so many different ways you can play. Through the middle, left and right side, I feel like there's like three different routes for each kind of main route you take, I guess you could say. A lot of different angles. I kind of enjoy how the middle hard point does kind of have the moving circle. That way it plays just a little bit different. Some that we're not necessarily used to, and I think it kind of adds a little bit of a variety to it. But honestly, this map has felt super great. I know a lot of people liked it in beta, uh, but it plays hardpoint very well. You can get dominated, but I feel like it's also relatively like simple or easy to break into the hard points. There is one where if you get spawned kind of on the same spawn I am right now, on the left side here, it is very hard to break, or it takes a while because you have to have someone flank across the whole map. But I do enjoy how this game mode hardpoint flows on it. I feel like it plays fairly well. I haven't seen many people hating on this map either. I feel like it's just one of those ones that are going to be a nice, solid rotational map. Uh, no real issues with it. Looks good. Kind of a unique map with it being in this weird facility place. But overall, plays super good. I enjoyed a lot, and with that being said, I would rank it another solid B. And now we go into another famous beta map. I believe it's Blackheart, and this map I feel plays very well as well. Hardpoint feels super smooth, even though I low-key killed myself there. But I feel like it plays super smooth. you can do a kind of a variety of different ways of playing this. Even though it is the main 3 lane, I feel like there's a lot of ins and outs of this map that are pretty good. Obviously, you can use this map a lot when it comes to the wall jumping mechanics and stuff for this map. It makes it kind of use the new movement to how it's supposed to be, how everything's kind of laid out, but yet it doesn't hurt the map. They might add like higher walls and things like that, or like even some centerpieces that don't necessarily seem right, but yet it is, and it makes the map flow even better. Um, I have had a lot of enjoyable memories on this map already. I feel like plays really good. I think this is going to be a really good hardpoint map for competitive COD. Um, yeah, never really had any big issues with it, and I think this is probably going to go in between my A and B, so a solid B plus for me. Now, Cortex. I honestly haven't played this map as much as I feel like I should, because the layout of this map I think is pretty good, especially for hardpoint and flows fairly well. I do know a big issue with this that you could argue is there are a lot of head glitch spots, which make it pretty hard to try to break any kind of hill or make any navigations around the map. But even then, I feel like it's still a pretty visually appealing map as well as all the other BO7 maps. But I do feel like this one has a certain flow that you kind of have to play a certain way, I would say, but yet it still works. Um, I want to say this is my favorite map, but still one of the most solid ones. I like how unique the first hardpoint is with kind of the red tubes. I don't know what building to call that, but I feel like it's pretty unique with that room. Everything kind of meshes well on this. I feel like you can kind of play any medium to long range weapon on this. It doesn't really work for the shotgun, as I found out here trying to get it gold. Um, but I still really enjoy this map. I would give this a solid B plus. As all of you guys know, there has to be at least one snowy map in every COD, I feel like. And for this one, it is Retrieval. I do think this is kind of a unique map and kind of how it's laid out. I don't think we've had anything quite like this where one side is pretty, I don't know, vanilla with it just being a 1 lane and basically 2 walls the whole way down. And then the other side is absolute pure chaos. There's always something you can almost see across the whole other map with a lot of different obstacles and stuff in the way. For Hardpoint, I do kind of enjoy this. I feel like it plays short and long range both at the same time really well, which is kind of weird. Um, but I think the hardpoints are placed very well on this map. I haven't had any super big issues or concerns with this map. This map plays pretty good. I do like the visuals of it. Um, I feel like I'm still kind of getting used to the different places you kind of use the wall bounce and things like that on this game for this map. But overall, I would rank this as a pretty solid map, and this going right back into my B category. Now, this might be a pretty hot take, but I think Homestead is a really great map. I get the feeling not a lot of people like this, but I really like the atmosphere, how it's like this kind of snowy Iceland cabin, and I feel like a lot of the action plays around the cabin, but not in a bad way. Um, Obviously, there's like 7 different ways you can enter the cabin with upstairs, downstairs, pretty much every side of the house. Um, I feel like it plays pretty well in that sense that it's not just one door for each side. But also utilizes a lot of short range areas, long range areas, kind of that medium in between. And I feel like he utilizes all of them pretty well. I've never really started a match with this and been like disappointed. I've been pretty good, or happy with playing all of the games on Homestead. It's honestly probably the most visually appealing maps that we have ever seen. With kind of the I forget what they call it, but like the kind of greenish, bluish sky. It's kind of like the Northern Lights sort of atmosphere. I really enjoy that. And I feel like this is also something we don't see a lot, but it played fairly well here, which is kind of a nighttime map. I don't know if it was meant to be nighttime, but it gives the nighttime kind of atmosphere while still like working and not being pitch black and stuff where you could still see ahead of you. But Homestead for me plays super well, like all the spots in it. The hard point is super smooth, I feel like. And with all that being said, this is going into my A/S category. Now we have Express. Now, Express, I feel like it's one of the most beloved maps that I have never got behind. Express Me just doesn't feel the greatest. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's just this game, but I feel like in BO2 I didn't like it as much either. Um, for Hardpoint, I don't feel like it's that great. None of the hills really are like a great place to hold. I kind of understand why they put them where they did because it couldn't really be anywhere else in the map. But I just feel like overall it doesn't really feel that smooth to kind of play on BO7. Same when it was on BO2, and I think it even was on BO3 at one point. I could be wrong. Um, but I just feel like it's not a great map, honestly. Uh, it's definitely not one of the worst things I ever played, but I'm not necessarily thrilled coming into an Express sort of game. So, um, I feel like the layout is just kind of the game or the gunplay is just kind of on this map. Everything's really mid. It doesn't excel at everything, but yet it doesn't really like fail at anything either. And so with that being said, this unfortunately going into my C, which I know a lot of people are probably not going to agree with. And then on the other end, I feel like a map that everybody is going to agree with me because it is one of the best maps ever made is Raid. I feel like it plays just as well, if not better, on BO7 as it has played on all the other Call of Duties. Um, Obviously, no real complaints. You guys all know Raid plays super smooth. Hardpoint is really good on this map. A lot of different routes you can take with it still being a 3-lane map. Um, no real big issues. I do feel like the head glitches on this map make it are just kind of BO7 make it a little bit more difficult on this. But overall, I still like it. I feel like it plays super well. It looks really clean. They didn't really change anything. I think it was Cold War kind of modernized a little bit of the things, and they might have, but I feel like it looks super good in this game. Um, no real issues. As all you guys know, Raid has been in multiple Call of Duties, one of the most beloved maps, and it's still one of my beloved maps. So with that being said, it is going in the A plus category. And now we are going from the A plus to probably the complete opposite with Imprint here. Imprint has a terrible imprint on my mind. That's what I have to say about it. It plays terribly, in my opinion, for a hard point. Um, I feel like every gunfight is just super long range. You're always trying to come across some skinny bridge just straight to a head glitched AR in every hard point. Um, doesn't play well at all, in my opinion. I do like the creativity they tried with the middle hard point being able to move kind of from the lower area to the upper area. Some people may not like that, but I feel like it kind of worked out in this game a little. Um, it's just most of the map is not great, so trying to include something like that on this map does not work, unfortunately. Maybe it would work on a different map here in BO7, but yeah, this one was just a fail. I do not like this map at all. I try to vote anything other than this map anytime it comes up. And so, yeah, with that being said, this is my worst map in BO7. Geez, I can't talk, with it being an absolute F tier. Now, with the final map coming up here being Den, I feel like this map is going to be pretty okay. It is a very one-way map in the sense that there are 3 lanes and you can't really change that up. The hardpoint plays fairly well in this, even though that is the case. I feel like everyone's gonna agree with me here, but this little part I'm on now, where you kind of have to jump across each platform, If they just had this all connected somehow, I feel like this map would be really good. This side of the map definitely brings it down a lot. Den, really like kind of the atmosphere of it. Plays fairly well, and I feel like I didn't say it, but all these maps aren't really small or large. They're all like medium-sized maps, and it works. Um, Den, in my opinion, is going to be a great hardpoint map. It looks like that's going to be one of the ones they're using for this, and even though I didn't think it would be at first, kind of my first couple games, I am slowly growing to like it more and more, and I feel like that's going to be kind of how Den is for a lot of people. I think a lot of people aren't going to like this map at the start, or at least I feel like not a lot of people are. And then once the game is kind of out for a couple months and so, everyone's going to be kind of wanting Den more and more. But yeah, that is my overall kind of rankings of each map. Let me know if there are any you disagree with, what you might switch up. But yeah, without any further ado, thank you guys for watching the video. Give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see your beautiful faces in the next one. Peace out.